Hey traders, today I want to talk to you about something that sounds obvious, but is the reason most traders never become profitable. To be profitable, you don't need a new strategy. You need to make trading a job. And when I say a job, I don't mean sitting in front of charts all day. I don't mean staring at screens from morning to night. I mean responsibility, structure, boundaries, and emotional neutrality. Let me tell you why this took me years to understand. When I first started trading, everything felt exciting. Every chart felt like opportunity. Every session felt like today could be the day. I would wake up, open the charts, and ask myself a question that now feels embarrassingly naive. What can I make today? That question felt normal, motivating even. But looking back now, that single question quietly destroyed my consistency. Because professionals don't wake up asking what they can make. They wake up asking what they are responsible for. I didn't understand that then. Most traders don't. In the beginning, trading feels personal. When you win, you feel smart. When you lose, you feel stupid. Your P&L starts to feel like a direct measurement of your intelligence, your discipline, your worth. And once that happens, trading stops being a profession and becomes an emotional battlefield. You don't trade the market anymore. You trade your self-image. You start chasing strategies not because the old ones stopped working, but because you stopped trusting yourself. You chase sessions not because opportunity is there, but because boredom makes you uncomfortable. You chase big days not because they're necessary, but because small progress feels meaningless. This is not a strategy problem. This is not a market problem. This is a problem of how you define work. Most traders don't fail because they're bad at analysis. They fail because they don't understand how real work functions in an environment where rewards are delayed. In a normal job, progress is invisible at first. Your first salary doesn't change your life. Your first raise doesn't make you rich. Your first promotion doesn't mean you've made it. But you don't quit. You keep going because you intuitively understand something. Careers are built through accumulation. Effort stacks, experience stacks, trust stacks, responsibility stacks. Trading works the same way. But most traders refuse to treat it like that. They look at small profits and feel insulted by them. They look at slow growth and think something is wrong. They underestimate how powerful compounding actually is. In reality, small profits are not the problem. Impatience is. In trading, the trader who survives long enough is the trader who allows compounding to work. 1% done correctly, repeated again and again, without emotional spikes, without trying to be impressive. That doesn't feel exciting. It feels boring. And that is exactly why it works. The market does not reward intensity. It rewards durability. This is where making trading a job changes everything. A job reframes boredom as stability. In a job, boring means predictable. Predictable means you can plan, and planning is what allows growth to happen safely. In trading, boring means you are not interfering. It means your system is doing the work instead of your emotions. Most traders never get to experience this because they are addicted to stimulation. They think excitement means opportunity. They think adrenaline means edge. In reality, excitement usually means your nervous system is involved. And when your nervous system is involved, decision quality drops. Think about any real profession. A surgeon does not want excitement during surgery. A pilot does not want adrenaline during landing. An engineer does not want emotion when calculating load limits. They want calm. They want predictability. They want repeatability. Trading is no different. The moment your performance depends on confidence, motivation, or feeling in sync, you are already unstable. Because confidence fluctuates, motivation fades, feelings change, systems don't. My turning point didn't come after a massive loss. It didn't come from blowing an account. It came quietly. I started noticing something that made me uncomfortable. The days I traded best were the days I felt least involved. No rush, no urgency, no internal dialogue, just execution. And the days I traded worst, I was fully engaged, watching every tick, thinking constantly, emotionally present. That contradiction forced me to look at myself honestly. So I asked a different question. Not how do I trade better, but what if trading isn't something you feel, but something you operate? That question changed everything. The first thing I did was remove choice. I fixed my trading hours, not based on opportunity, not based on what the market was doing, but based on routine. I fixed my risk, not based on confidence, not based on how good a setup looked, but based on survival. I fixed my process, not based on mood, but based on repeatability. And something strange happened. Trading became boring, predictable, unremarkable. No adrenaline, no anticipation, no sense that today could be special. Just work. And that is when consistency finally started to appear. Most traders resist this phase because a job does not feed the ego. A job does not make you feel special. It does not give you emotional highs. It does not validate you every day. Traders want to feel exceptional. They want to catch big moves. They want to call reversals. They want to feel smarter than the market. Jobs don't care about that. Jobs care about reliability, showing up, doing the same thing well, not breaking under pressure, repeating boring excellence. The market rewards the same traits. Here is something most traders don't want to admit. The most dangerous phase is not drawdown. It is mild success. A few green weeks, a small sense of confidence, the feeling that I'm getting better. That is when traders start pushing. They increase size. They loosen rules. They take marginal setups. Not because they are greedy, but because progress feels too slow. This is where the job mindset protects you. When trading is a job, you don't ask, how do I accelerate this? You ask, how do I avoid ruining this? That single shift changes everything. In a career, you don't quit because one month felt average. You don't change professions because progress was slow. You protect your position. Trading should be treated the same way. Once I stopped needing trading to feel meaningful every day, my behavior stabilized. I stopped forcing trades. I stopped trying to make each session matter. I stopped treating daily P&L like a verdict on my intelligence. I treated it like work. And work has rules. You don't work when you are mentally unfit. You don't push performance when you are emotionally off. You don't break process because you are bored. Most traders violate all three constantly. They trade tired. They trade emotional. They trade restless. And then they wonder why consistency never arrives. A job mindset teaches restraint. It teaches you that not losing ground is already progress, that stability comes before growth, that compounding only works when behavior is controlled, not market volatility. Behavioral volatility. This is the part nobody wants to hear. Your biggest enemy is not the market. It is your inability to accept slow progress without sabotaging yourself. Once I accepted that, everything changed. I stopped chasing big wins. I stopped trying to feel successful. I stopped measuring myself by short-term outcomes. I focused on one thing. Did I do my job today? Did I follow my rules? Did I respect my risk? Did I stop when I should have stopped? Some days I lost money. Some days I made money. Both were acceptable, because neither defined me anymore. That is when compounding finally had space to work. Not because I became smarter, but because I became stable. Over time, the account grew. Not explosively, reliably. And reliability is what creates real wealth. Not one trade, not one month, but hundreds of correct decisions stacked quietly on top of each other. That is how careers are built. That is how capital is built. Trading is not special. Your ego just wants it to be. If you treat trading like a shortcut, it will punish you, quietly, repeatedly. But if you treat it like a job, with structure, responsibility, and emotional neutrality, the market stops fighting you. Profitability does not come from trying harder. It comes from operating correctly for long enough. And that only happens when trading stops being personal and starts being professional. Why most traders quit right before compounding works. Most traders don't quit when they're losing badly. That part surprises people. You'd think the breaking point is a blown account, a massive drawdown, a painful mistake. But most traders don't quit there. They quit right before compounding starts to work. And that's the most tragic part of this profession. Because by the time most traders give up, they've already done the hardest work. They just don't realize it. Let me explain. There is a phase in trading that feels almost insulting. You're no longer losing badly. You're not panicking. You're not making reckless mistakes. But you're also not making money in a way that feels meaningful. You're slightly up, or flat, or up and down within a narrow range. Nothing dramatic is happening. And emotionally, this phase is unbearable for most people. Because it doesn't hurt enough to force change, and it doesn't reward enough to feel worth continuing. This is where compounding actually begins. But almost no one stays long enough to see it. Why? Because the human brain is not built for delayed exponential rewards. It's built for immediate feedback. When you touch fire, you feel pain immediately. When you eat sugar, you feel pleasure immediately. But compounding doesn't work like that. Compounding is invisible for a long time. At first, the curve looks flat. Sometimes it even looks broken. And the trader starts asking dangerous questions. Is this even working? Why am I still here? Shouldn't I be further by now? Those questions are not logical. They are emotional responses to slow progress. And slow progress is exactly what compounding looks like in its early stages. Think about any career. The first few years feel underwhelming. You're learning, you're building skill, you're not special yet. Most people don't quit careers at this stage because society normalizes it. No one expects a junior employee to be wealthy. But in trading, expectations are distorted. Social media, marketing, and highlight reels convince traders that progress should be fast. So when reality shows up, slow, boring, incremental, they assume something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. They are just early. This is the moment where most traders self-sabotage. They start changing things. Not because the system stopped working, but because they stopped feeling rewarded. They tweak rules, they adjust risk, they add complexity. They don't call it impatience, they call it optimization. But optimization during early compounding is often just fear of waiting. Another reason traders quit here is because this phase removes emotional payoff. Earlier, trading was exciting. There were big wins, big losses, big feelings. Now there's just routine. And routine doesn't feed the ego. There's nothing to brag about, nothing to post, nothing to prove. Just showing up and doing the same thing again. Most people are not prepared for that kind of quiet discipline. They mistake the absence of excitement for the absence of progress. But in reality, excitement disappearing is often the first sign that behavior has stabilized. And stabilized behavior is the foundation of compounding. This is also where traders start comparing themselves to others. They see screenshots, they hear stories, they feel left behind. And comparison accelerates quitting. Because compounding is personal. It doesn't look impressive early. It doesn't move fast enough to satisfy insecurity. So traders abandon the process right before the curve starts to bend. Here's the brutal truth. If you quit while things feel kind of okay but not enough, you probably quit at the worst possible time. Not because you failed, but because you didn't wait. Compounding doesn't reward effort. It rewards persistence under boredom. That's a skill most people never train. Another reason traders quit here is because this phase forces an identity shift. Earlier, you could still tell yourself a story. I'm learning. I'm experimenting. I'm almost there. But once things stabilize, those stories disappear. Now you have to face a harder question. Can I accept slow, unremarkable progress for a long period of time without needing validation? Most traders can't. So they manufacture chaos just to feel something again. They break rules. They overtrade. They take unnecessary risks. And when that fails, they say trading doesn't work. Trading works. Waiting doesn't feel good. That's the real issue. The traders who make it through this phase don't do anything extraordinary. They don't suddenly become brilliant. They don't discover secret edges. They simply stop interfering. They accept that this phase is not meant to feel rewarding. It's meant to be stable. And stability is what allows size to increase later without emotional collapse. This is another thing people misunderstand. Compounding is not just about percentage growth. It's about behavior scaling safely. If you can't handle boredom at small size, you will self-destruct at larger size. So the market tests you here, quietly. It asks, can you stay consistent when nothing exciting is happening? Most traders answer no, and they never get another chance. Because once you quit here, you restart from zero. New strategy, new hope, same cycle. The traders who succeed recognize this phase for what it is, not a dead end, but a gate, a psychological filter. If you can pass through it, compounding eventually becomes obvious. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but unmistakably. One day, you look back and realize the curve is no longer flat. It didn't explode, it bent. And bending is all compounding needs. But that only happens if you stay long enough without demanding proof every week. This is why treating trading like a job matters. In a job, you don't quit because growth feels slow. You understand that stability precedes leverage. Trading is the same. The people who quit here weren't wrong. They were just early and unwilling to wait. If you're in this phase right now, understand this clearly. You are not failing. You are being tested on patience, restraint, and emotional maturity. This is the part no one celebrates. But this is the part that separates traders who talk from traders who last.